What's happening, fight fans? Welcome back to the MMA Mindset. I'm wearing a Vulcanite top, but it's not actually a Vulcanite pre-fight interview for a change. It seems to be all I've done over the past few months. Getting back into just kind of like the bread and butter, just the long format, just chatting and stuff. Occasional, I've just seen a massive daddy long leg spider in the corner of me.
Mm.
This is awful. Yeah, just back to how it used to be. And it seems only fitting for the first time coming back to this kind of format to have the person that's featured more than anyone else apart from myself on this channel. Um, One of my favorites, channel favorite, favorite of a lot of the people I've introduced to the regional scene. Mr. Charles Joyner, thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Oh, that was a what an introduction. That was awesome.
Ah,
Thanks for having me.
nah, not a problem, man. I'm gonna have to not focus. I hate spiders, mate, and I know you're like obviously you're from down under, and that this
I
is
know.
probably pathetic to you, but
Well, apparently daddy longlegs are the most venomous or have the most dangerous venom in them. I don't know if this is true, but they just don't have a means of distributing it.
oh right, okay,
So
all right.
you're safe. But they're harmless. They're harmless. They're harmless. Just don't
uh,
eat it.
yeah, I'll try my best not to. So obviously, I just want to kind of get a little bit of an introduction about why we're doing this interview out the way. You're taking on in Cage Warriors Glasgow 7th of September, taking on Brandon Guest, someone making his professional debut as well. I can't let that fool you because the guy was really highly touted at amateur level. I'd seen quite a few of his fights. I've interviewed him a few times. What are your kind of initial first thoughts on this matchup? Because he kind of likes the same style as you do. He likes to stand up.
Yeah, I think. Well, he likes to stand up in his other fights. We'll see what happens September the 7th, but and see what his game plan is then. But yeah, no, I mean, first thoughts were I was a bit offended that he thought he could make a pro debut against me. Um, I thought there was a bit more fear attached to my name than that. But no, I think I like the matchup. I mean, my Cage Warriors debut was supposed to be against Brandon Guest, and he pulled out. And then I got the big Italian in as a replacement. So yeah, I mean, it's a matchup that we've liked, that Fisher's liked. I think it suits me, to be honest. I mean, I feel I'm getting to the point now where I've tested myself in MMA. Obviously, I've tested myself in kickboxing, and I feel comfortable that I can deal with the problems that I'm faced with. And like you said, he had a good amateur career, got a few wins, but I think his last fight he got knocked out, and I think that was quite a long time ago as well. So I think I'm a pretty dangerous person to one be making a debut against, two be making your return to fighting after, if Tapology is correct, I don't know if it is, but I think it's about 18 months since he last fought. I'm a dangerous person to be returning against. And three, I'm a dangerous person to be fighting coming off of a knockout as well. So yeah, I think it's stacked up in my favor, to be honest.
Yeah, it surprised me when it got announced because obviously I know Brandon. I've seen him fight a few times. He's got some good wins against some people like Julius Bernstorff fighting out of Molyneux in Iceland and guys like that. But it's a step up in competition and a step up on your pro debut where you're going to be feeling out those 4 ounce gloves and you're going to be feeling out those ability to be able to get hit by elbows and knees to the head. So it it,
Mm.
it kind of shocked me a little bit, but fair play to him for
Yeah,
having the
that's the other
bollocks.
thing. Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, and obviously you said Fisher like this matchup. Are you expecting maybe him to come out and shoot, or do you think he might have that ego to think, yeah, people have not really stood with him in the past, and when they have, they've been knocked out. Do you think he might have the kind of the ego to be like, well, I've knocked people out as well, so I can stand up with him?
Yeah, I think most people do. I think for whatever reason, people watch me and they think, "Oh, I can handle him. It doesn't look that bad." And then it's a whole different game when you're standing in front of me. And people quickly realize, even if their intention was to stand with me, you know, even in sparring, when people's intentions to stand with me, they very quickly shoot. So yeah, I think he'll end up wrestling, and we'll see if he's got the gas tank to continue to wrestle me and keep trying to hold me down, and then see what he's like on the feet after you know, a few takedowns have been stuffed, and I've got back to my feet, and I'm putting the pressure on him again.
Yeah, it's always like, yeah, I'll stand with him, but when you get kicked from across the cage because your just limbs are ridiculously long, it's another ball game. I just want to speak about your Cage Warriors debut, because obviously we were actually there at the fight. We spoke to you after. It seemed like that entire card was pretty much set up for you with the amount of like the body shot knockouts there were. It was unbelievable, and that must have been so good for your first card on Cage Warriors to kind of get that endorsement from Brad Wharton as well. Obviously, a legend of
Mm.
UK MMA. That must have felt pretty good to the whole. If one more person gets a body shot knockout, I'll let Charles Joyner kick me clean in the liver.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping he's going to be there for Glasgow because, I mean, he's that's a verbal contract, I think. But so we'll have to see if he's still up for it. But yeah, no, I felt like I got a lot of, love from Cage Warriors before the fight, in the build up, and then afterwards as well. I felt like they were really promoting me, and then they were keen to get me back on again and match me up. So, and Cage Warriors is a proven pathway to the UFC. So whenever those sort of shows show an interest in you and want to promote you, it's a good sign. So yeah, it is the big show. It just feels. I was saying to everyone, or people that hadn't been to a Cage Warriors before, particularly Cage Warriors Newcastle, and I think Glasgow's the same. It feels like a mini UFC, just how the crowd is and the way it's set up, and um, the quality of the production and how professional it is. I mean, because there's other shows that are on UFC Fight Pass, and like no sort of disrespect to their name, but it's just a different level when it's Cage Warriors, it seems, and that's across the board. That's in any country. I feel like the UFC is the biggest show on Fight Pass, and then Cage Warriors is the second, and there's no one else really close. So yeah, it's felt really good, and then I think I mean, I've had wins against tougher opponents, in my kickboxing career, and I've even in MMA probably I've probably beat some tougher people than my last opponent. Like, no disrespect to him, but just because it was on Cage Warriors and because it was a pretty clinical performance, it just gets you more respect instantly. Then I'm like, and everyone's sort of going, "Oh, oh, you're on the right path now. It's all coming together." It's like, well, did you not see my kickboxing career? Some of those guys that I beat were pretty good. One of them was 47-0. But just because it's not on a big show and a big platform, you just don't get the same respect. So yeah, it's all been good. It's all been good post since the fight.
Yeah, I have to remind like people about this when people who don't necessarily know your kickboxing career, they kind of ask me like, oh, how do you think he's going to deal with like the step up in competition? I'm like, what step up in competition? Like
Mm,
he's fought on like the zone and stuff like that. Like
mm.
it's not. This is nothing that he's not experienced before. It's not. You fought in Rome, haven't you? I think you were Rome, the main
Yeah,
event
yeah,
in Rome. Like
yeah,
this is just it's just par for the course for you. So yeah, it was fantastic to see though. It was a brilliant night as well. Like with
mm,
Kennedy and her fight as well. It went off for that, and
yeah,
your walkout was unbelievable, and you got a lot of love off Cage Warriors for that walkout as well. And
yeah.
were you surprised to have that much promotion from them after? Because there was a lot of focus put on you, like the
Mm.
walkout, the finish and stuff. Were you surprised at all?
Um, I mean, I guess I always viewed myself as having these qualities that shows like. Um, and so I think I just knew that, like, give me the platform and it will all start, that they will want to promote me. That's what I always believe, that, like, even in kickboxing, being a bit younger and naive, I just assumed in kickboxing that I would build my such a name in kickboxing that I'd make my MMA debut in the UFC. Like, that's how I always envisioned it. And then obviously when you progress through and you realize that that's not realistic, because you need to have the experience on a lower level to build it up. But so I always had that belief that these shows would want to get behind me. So I don't know. It's just it's cliched these days to say like manifested it throughout your career, but I knew these moments would come, and it still just feels like I'm scraping the surface. It's the tip of the iceberg. To throw another cliche in there. Yeah, so I just feel like they're just going to give me more promotion after this one.
Yeah, well, they already posted something earlier on. I think either yesterday or earlier on today, video of your knockout
Mm.
last time and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of eyes on you, and it's a good card as well. You've got Chris Bungard fighting on Reese McEwen, another favourite of the channel here. Got a lot of time for Reese. Is there a lot of people going up? Because I know it's a straight train from kind of that part of the UK to Glasgow. Have you got a lot of people coming up? Is like Katrina and like Simone and Simone's family coming up?
Yeah, yeah. We'll have obviously a few people from the area and a few people from the gym coming up. I think people from the northeast are spoiled though now because we have cage warriors in Newcastle a couple of times a year, so they know that's on the cards. But yeah, I think a few people are going to come up. I just think the Scottish fans going to get behind me as well. I feel like Scotland and Australia have a nice little, there's a bit of mutual respect there. There's probably that, felt like the Australians probably felt they were pushed out by the English back in the day, and then the Scottish had that same sort of feeling towards the English. So obviously I'm English as well, but for cage warriors, I just hype up the Australian thing. So it's yeah, I feel like I feel like, and I feel like I keep saying to everyone, I'm excited to fight on this card because I feel like Glasgow and Newcastle are the two best crowds in cage warriors. So yeah, I can just feel like they're just going to get behind me again.
Yeah, because it's obviously we're gutted we can't come up. It's just an absolute mission for us, and I'm already
Yeah,
working down in Wolverhampton on the same day as well. So yeah, it's a bit cutting, but I'll be watching anyway. So it'll I won't be too disassociated from it.
yeah, yeah.
One bit of promotion that I wanted to speak about was the Eric's fight gear video that they did, that Dragon Ball Z edit. That
Oh
was
yeah, yeah,
sick. Did you know that was
yeah, yeah.
getting done?
Yeah, yeah, he told me that he was doing it. Um and then so I was just sort of he told me straight after that he was gonna get something done by Triller. And then I just kept on messaging him like, oh, is he doing it? Is he doing it? Is he doing it? And then yeah. I think it was good as well because he that Triller collabed on it as well, and he's obviously got quite a big page, so it had good engagement. But yeah, I think that's the thing. It's like I said, as soon as you're on those bigger shows, that's when people start doing stuff like that. And then in this age of social media, it's those sort of things are the difference makers, those little things, and they can get you a fan here and there, and then that slowly builds up over time. And then before you know it, people are calling for you to be in the UFC, and then if you have a fan base when you're in the UFC, you get opportunities. So yeah, all that sort of stuff just fuel to the fire, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I wanted to ask you, so me and my partner Louise were watching the Taekwondo at the Olympics, and the conversation came on to, I wonder if this is obviously something that obviously Simone's probably goal would be to compete for Great Britain at the Olympics in Taekwondo. I bet that'd be insane for her. And then it got on to, I think Simone's 25, isn't she?
24.
24. We didn't know
Yeah.
how old you were, but did you used to watch like Dragon Ball Z as a kid and stuff?
I see. I didn't really watch it, so I'm 29, but I never really watched it, so I wasn't that like I can. It's funny. A lot of my friends did, and they're always. So I was getting like loads of friends messaging me like, "Oh, this is so cool," and obviously I appreciate it, and I know what the whole Super Saiyan thing is, but I never really watched it when I was younger. I was more watching Pokemon, which is the
Bro, oh, I'm so happy. Right, I fucking love Pokemon. I still play Pokemon Go to this game. There, I've got a Croc charm of a Pikachu that flashes up on my Crocs as well.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, I absolutely I love Pokemon. So I don't think I've got anything actually in here that's any
Well,
more
that's another
Pokemon.
thing I've just got Simone into Pokemon.
She'll be obsessed. She'll be obsessed with Pokemon Go. Anything that she can kind of
Well,
collect. I
she's
think.
yeah, she's been playing Pokemon Go. So she was playing Pokemon Go because when we went to Australia, it's such a long flight. So I bought a couple of Pokemon games to play for the journey. This was in 2022, and then Simone saw I was playing it, and then downloaded Pokemon Go, and then been playing that. And then I said, "Well, you should actually play the game." And then the other day, she started playing the game, and she just realized how much better it was than Pokemon Go actually playing the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
used to annihilate like Pokemon Emerald and stuff when I was a kid. I
mm,
think I think I'm 28, so I'm only a year younger than yourself.
yeah.
But I think for me it was like Pokemon, like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. But I think our lives were probably like, what? How old were you when you moved out of Australia?
When I moved to Australia when I was so I was born here,
Yeah,
and then we left here when I was 6, traveled around a bit, and then I moved to Australia when I was 10, and then moved back here when I was 26.
shit the bed. Six. So obviously, when I was like 11, 12, 13, you could be out, but you were only ever out really from the months of like May till September, and then it was
That's
just
warm.
yeah, it was just shite in the winter, and it was raining all
Mm,
the time, and the street lights came on at like 5, and like it was just naff. So
yeah,
I spent so much time just like watching shit on telly. And
yeah.
like Disney Channel and stuff like that. Like
Mm.
we used to watch like Wizards of Waverly Place and That's So Raven and Lizzie
Simone loves
McGuire.
Simone loves that Wizards. She watches that still now. Wizards of Waverly Place. I used to watch Drake and Josh, and those sort of that was my favorite Drake and Josh. But I feel like Drake and Josh has like got a smudge on its reputation now. It's like all the Nickelodeon stuff is
Did you watch that
the
documentary?
I didn't watch it, but I saw loads of little clips about him,
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy.
rough, man. That's rough. And like
I know.
you think back to yourself, like stuff like Ned's The Classified School Survival Guide, and you just think to
Mm.
yourself, oh, were all of these like kids getting exploited like this, and it's
Yeah,
awful,
yeah, I
and
know. Pretty
it's
much
not.
everyone that worked with him seemed to, and it's like everyone that worked, even the adults that worked with him, just knew about it, but sort of just like turned a blind eye to it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, not something that I kind of want to watch anymore and stuff. But
Yeah, I know.
it's
That's
like
why it's sort of. I know selfishly, I just obviously because they obviously went through trauma. Then it's just like it kind of ruined that whole thing for me because you can't really appreciate it now.
no, not at all. Like in terms of just like obviously growing up, did you ever like game and stuff? Were you playing like Xbox,
Yeah,
PlayStation, anything?
yeah, yeah. I did used to play quite a lot. I still do now. To be fair, sometimes I go through phases, but my favorite game was always FIFA though. I just
Yeah.
loved FIFA.
Yeah, I could annihilate FIFA. What me and my mate used to do is so we'd start a career mode with a random team in Europe that was in the Champions League, and we'd make it so you could only sign players using your youth setup, but you could only scout in the country that you were managing in, and
Right.
you'd have to win the Champions League using only players from the league where your club was, and you also had to take the national team to win the World Cup and the Euros using
Yeah,
only
yeah,
players from like say you're a Danish team like Denmark and stuff. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
mate, we put hours into that. Like just
Oh,
oh
I
mate,
know. I've got. My friends and I used to do similar things with career modes, and they're some of the best memories. Just staying up late, just building these teams, and then sometimes you do ones where obviously you're playing it for months because whenever you go around there, you play that specific career mode, and then I mean we still do it sometimes now. When if I go back to Australia, we'll be like, oh, should we do a career mode? And then we just like we did one on YouTube once. Because my mate had a football type channel, and the career just went absolutely terrible. Like we started with Aston Villa, and then we got sacked, and then signed for someone in the Championship. I can't remember who it was, and then I think we went to Bury, and then we ended up turning it around, then got signed by like Paris FC or something like it was just. But it's just all the videos are pretty much just us just raging, just this is ridiculous. It's
so
just
how career modes are meant to go where it's meant to be like you kind of
yeah,
went.
yeah. We went down, and the interest in the channel just went.
Yeah,
But
these guys are shit. Yeah.
yeah, these guys are terrible. I don't know. I feel like I think it was FIFA 20, and FIFA 20 just seemed like it would just be ridiculous. Like FIFA scripting would just
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, you're doing a bit too well here, and we don't really want you to win this
yeah,
game. So yeah, go fuck yourself.
literally. You know what? You know what? I play Football Manager. I'm playing Football Manager at the moment. Um, and Football Manager is just probably the most frustrating game in the world, but they're not the most rewarding when you do well.
Yeah, I took Wrexham, Football Manager 2013. I took Wrexham from Conference League North, I think they were in, to like third in the Premier League in about
Yeah,
10 seasons. And honestly, man, I was just like, that was like the crowning achievement in my life. But
it
yeah,
is. I know. It
I
feels so
guess
good.
I get so angry at that game. I
I
try not
know.
to. I try to put games away now that make me angry, and I play like more games that just like amble along. Like there's a game called Medieval
Mm,
Dynasty, and basically you just build like because I'm obsessed with like Anglo-Saxon Viking days and stuff. You just
right,
build
right.
like wooden houses and stuff, and it's
Like
great.
Age of
And
Empires, like that. Is it
yeah,
that sort of?
yeah, but
Yeah. See, I used to like Age of Empires.
you don't really die either. I just can't be doing it. I don't have a lot of time to play games, so the last thing I want to do is go to work all day,
Mm,
come home, do some MMA content, and then jump on my Xbox and then just get shit mixed by some like 12-year
yeah.
old kid from Singapore like 8 times.
It's playing non-stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't be doing like I play like do you remember like old Modern Warfare 2? Like back at like
Mm,
old like intervention
yeah, yeah.
sniping and stuff. I still play that to this day. I've got it backwards
Mm,
compatible on my Xbox. And I go on and I'm playing and I'm just getting absolutely annihilated. And my dad used to play with me back in the day when I was like 12, 13, and he goes,
mm.
"See, this is what you used to do to all of us." I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't like it anymore. My reactions,
Yeah.
like your reactions must be pretty good still, because obviously you've got that you're training reactions all the time. You're
Mm.
focusing on making sure your reactions are sharp. But I just sit there and eat shit and do nothing. Like my reactions are done.
But that's sometimes the best game in that's the best game in what do you call it? Like base. That's the best base for gaming. Eden shouldn't doing nothing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
people make millions from doing that.
I know.
I want to quickly touch on something. Obviously, we had the UFC Manchester, and
Hmm.
obviously Big Mick. He got
Oh
his
yeah.
first finish in the UFC as well, and I think
Yeah.
that was something that was needed, man.
Yeah.
I was made up for him, and I'd have been made up for him anyway, even if he'd have just won. But getting a finish in the first round, and because that's what Mick was known for on the regional scene
Yeah.
was basically just flattening people and
Yeah.
getting quick finishes. I bet you were obviously buzzing to see him get a
Yeah.
finish and show people that he can starch people.
Yeah. It's funny with Mick. I feel like he's got like a funny following, like everyone making memes about him. Because I think he's just like he's a nice bloke, and he's just like a big teddy bear. And then, I think at first they just thought that, oh, he's just going to be, a run of the mill heavyweight that's not going to do too well. And then now he's just dominating people. It's just like, I mean, like I thought the win against Usman would have got him a bit more respect than it did, just because Usman was a decent name. But I feel like now, especially on a card that didn't have too many finishes, that was just the perfect platform for him just to look, yeah, just to show what his skill set is. So yeah, it was good to see. And I think he could have finished Usman. I was saying afterwards, I think he just played a bit too safe. And then this one, it was like as soon as he had him hurt, he just went for the kill and just absolutely smashed him. So yeah, it's gonna be fun to see where he goes. I mean, if he keeps on rising, it's gonna be him and Tom might become a reality. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. It's a funny one, isn't it?
I wouldn't like that. Yeah, I asked
But
him
what
about.
do you do though? What do you do? Because they're both young for heavyweights, and then you know, I don't know. It's like there's nowhere to go from heavyweight. It's not like Marab and Sterling where one can go to a heavier weight class. It's like you know, there's nowhere to go for heavyweight. So you've got to win the belt, really, don't you? But I don't know. That's a while down the line. I think obviously Mick's got to get a few big wins over very good people first, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you say that it's a long time away, but say he gets a fight towards the end of this year
Mm,
in the top 15 and does really well there and maybe finishes the guy, builds a little bit more hype. And then
mm,
he gets another fight, maybe first quarter of 2025. He wins that one. And then he's looking at top five opponents. So in reality, he might only be 3 fights away from
I know.
people thinking, yeah. And I spoke
He
to him
deserves a
before.
title shot.
I spoke to him before the Usman fight, and we were just chatting on here, and I obviously spoke about the possibility of the Aspinall thing being a thing, and he was like, oh, I'm not even thinking about that, but there's only so long you can put that off for before you have to start thinking about it, and have to maybe start having that conversation with Tom and being like, look, what are we doing if
Mm,
this happens? Because I think he's like 5-0 in the UFC now, and
mm,
heavyweight is it's a lot of the people in the lower portion of the top 15 and top 10 are losing fights. So the,
mm,
the upper rankings are easy. So, well, not easy
mm.
to get into, but are open to get into. So I don't know
Yeah,
what he's going to do, but yeah, great to see him.
it's a
Great to
good
see him.
problem to have, I think.
Yeah, obviously we lost a champion on that night as well. Obviously, Leon. I don't have a
Yeah,
fuck knows what happened there, mate. Like it's not my place
I
to
don't know.
say, but I don't know what happened. But I
Yeah,
like Tom looked unbelievable. Like
yeah,
it proved, like everyone was saying, oh yeah, when he first fought Blades was tagging him. The fight went 14 seconds and he hit him
mm,
once. Like you couldn't read anything into that. And I think he silent.
mm,
I think if there was still doubters, he silenced a lot of people by starching Blades in a minute.
yeah. Oh, definitely. I feel like, for whatever. I mean, you could almost call it. People probably call it flukes. The Pavlovich one. It's like they were both swinging, and then he he caught him and finished him clinically, which was good. And then you know, I don't know. I feel like it gets to a point now where people just can't deny him at all, even if I don't know. It's the whole John Jones thing is just strange as well because I feel like at first, I think John was sort of before the Blades fight was sort of retaliating and saying stuff, and but now after the Blades fight, he's gone a bit quiet because because he'd know he's had a few injuries, he's had a long career, he's had layoffs, and I don't know. I just feel like he's a bad matchup for Jones now. I just hope we get to see that fight because that. And then at what point do you start calling Tom one of the greatest of all time if he takes out John Jones and then keeps doing what he's doing?
That's the thing, and I think John will fight Stipe, and then he's off, he's sailing off into the sunset, I reckon. But at the
Mm,
end of the day, people can say what they want about John Jones, but he's probably the GOAT, and I don't think he'd be able. I don't think he could let it lie, and people be like, yeah, Tom Aspinall retired you without even having to fight you. So I,
yeah,
I don't know. I
it's
think
yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one for him. I feel like it's a lose lose for him, really.
yeah,
But
it's gonna be an interesting to see how that heavyweight division's going to go. I just wanted to obviously touch on someone else as well, someone that had a really a few months ago had a really good fight. Mr. Hendon, like he looked fucking
yeah,
great at Octagon. He looked
mm,
unbelievable. Um, and any news on kind of what he's doing next, what he's looking for? Because I don't know if he's got a fight arranged yet, and I know some of the English lot, the UK lot, was struggling to get matched by Octagon, so I don't really know what's
yeah.
happening there.
Well, it seems like with Octagon that they had this big sort of idea that they're going to have this UK and Ireland market, and then they had three shows, I think, and then got massive arenas for three shows. Didn't really sell them out, and then signed all these UK and Irish guys, and then have just gone, yeah, okay, we're done with the UK and Ireland, and then have released a load of them. So, but I mean, I think James Hendon's just another person that's just slept on.
Yeah,
But everyone
massively.
just keeps sleeping on the Northeast talent. It's
It's because
I,
he's not a gobshite, is he? He's not an
yeah,
outspoken gobshite who
mm,
who wants to like push himself out there and stuff. And I just think that people are overlooking him. But in terms of skills, he's probably one of the best in the UK. He's
mm.
unbelievable.
I think everyone that trains with him as well. I mean, he's trained with some very good people that are in some high positions, and they're a bigger name than him and have belts in organizations. And you know you just James is, you know they just everyone knows how good James is. Basically, it's just I, and you say, oh, he's not a gobshite, but I guess that's the thing. You need to be in this sport. I mean, if you look at Octagon, look at Shem Rock.
Yeah,
He's just become one of the biggest stars in Europe, MMA, just by just talking so much shit, and then obviously backing it up in the fights. But it works. It gets you opportunities. It gets you fights. You know, like I'm of like it's just that, like, even say what we're saying with me for Cage Warriors before. For whatever reason, they were promoting me a lot after the fight, and then they're really keen to get me onto. They were really keen to get me onto Newcastle at the end of the year, but I said I wanted one more in, so they said before that. So they said, yeah, okay, we'll get you on another one. So they got me on Glasgow, and it's like, just for whatever reason, like putting yourself out there and doing something a little bit different, whether that be the the walkout or the walk off KO and doing the Australian thing. It gets you opportunities, and then for other people it's talking shit, or it's putting yourself out there. That's going to get you opportunities. Like look at Paddy the Baddy. He's
yeah,
and he's backing it up, to be fair, with his fights, but he's getting these massive opportunities which are probably above you know where he should be, because he's so good at marketing himself. In the BJJ world, look at Craig Jones.
yeah,
He's become the biggest thing in BJJ, just by being himself, and just being ridiculous, and just putting it all out there, and
yeah,
just not being afraid what anyone thinks of him, and everyone loves him. So it's a crucial part of the sport, and I say that to people all the time. Obviously, I'm no master at it, but it's so important to do that stuff, because you can you see it so much. There are amazing fighters that no one knows of, and
yeah.
there are fighters that are nowhere near as good, that are making all the money, and that everyone knows of. So yeah, I mean, I say that like the Northeast gets overlooked, but it's for those reasons, because the people just don't want to put themselves out there, I think, as much, which I can understand. Um, but I think with some people, it becomes inevitable that the ability and the hard work just gets them those opportunities eventually.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a frustrating part of the sport, but it's part of the sport, and you kind of just got to get on board, otherwise you're going to get left behind at the end of the day. So yeah, we kind of need to just to keep building ourselves up in the right way, like you are, like people like Tom have. They've built themselves up in the right way, and they've got loads of fans and respect from it as well. So I just kind of want to, one thing I always do it, and I'm kind of moving back to it, and just moving into the fight. Are we looking at another liver kick knockout? Body kick, body shot, body knee, anything?
Well, I've got to keep the trend going. I mean, I'm 3 wins, 3 KOs, 3 body shot victories in MMA. So it'd be rude not to. Imagine if I could just get every win just a body shot. I mean, that's one way to separate yourself, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
that's
know.
like when Khabib would take people down, and people would be like, "All you have to do is stop the takedown." And it's like, yeah, but how do I do that?
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Even sparring, I make it. I make it my goal in sparring sessions just to get one good body shot in a sparring session, and it's like everyone knows it's coming, but there's a reason why I keep on finishing people with it, because I can set it up. And I think at this point, I mean, maybe I need to get a few more first, but I've got to be one of the best body finishers in the world. That's I mean, I can't think of anyone too many, with kicks. And you got Giga Chikadze with his Giga kick. I think he's got a pretty good liver kick on him. But I feel like he just smashes it in. He doesn't
Yeah,
set it. I feel like mine are just touch him and just find that spot every time.
yeah,
But
definitely. Well, I'm buzzing for it, mate. Can't wait for it. 4-1 on its way, mate. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic. But yeah, just once again, Charles, I really appreciate you coming on and enjoyed this chat. Just wanted to kind of talk some shit about you being a kid, like playing games, fucking watching shit on
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But no, mate, I really appreciate you coming on as per usual.
No, no, appreciate it. It's always good. Always good to have a chat. I didn't expect to be talking about Pokemon, but it's
Oh,
good.
this is what I kind of want to do. I just want to kind of like get a bit of a
Yeah,
personality across of other people, get people to know you on more of a level than just a fighter. At the end of the day, it's kind of what I'm wanting to kind of promote with people. So yeah, but make sure that everyone tunes in to watch the fight. Obviously you're late on the bandwagon anyway. I was there at its pro debut, so
yeah.
you
You're there
need to,
day one. Day
yeah.
one.
You need to get on with it, but yeah, once again, all the best for the fight, Charles. I'm sure we'll obviously speak before the lead up. But yeah, all the best with the rest of your camp, mate.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you very much, as
No problem,
always.
bro. Thank you very much, my man.